evening, and thank you for joining us on The Question is Why. I'm your host, Chelsea Wall, and tonight's special guest is Danielle Lowe from I Am Eve. And some of you are going to remember Danielle because she has had a show on here before called My People. And it was actually Danielle who introduced me to Jess FM here, and had me as a guest on her show. So I'm very grateful that you gave me this opportunity and you helped me get out of my show. Now I can put all you people on the spotlight there, right?
I love it.
Yeah, right. It just comes around, doesn't it? So,
right.
So we're gonna talk a little bit about, I guess, you today because you've always interviewed everybody else, and they've been your people, but tonight you're my people. So I'm so excited to have you on because I feel like this is a great opportunity for you to talk about yourself since you talk about everybody else. So let's dive in and find out about Danielle.
No, not me. I'm so shy.
It's bashful. I always say to people, it's like, I'm not shy, I'm bashful.
I'm bashful.
Yeah. So tell us about Danielle and what you're doing these days.
Where to start? So, like you said, I have been a host. We did Soapbox Union, and then I went solo for a little while and did My People, which I still love. My heart would love. Like, if I can find a way to make money just hearing people's stories, I'm still not sure.
It's like a talk show host. Like, if I could be Ellen or Oprah, I would do it. It would be the best job, but It just doesn't work that way.
I wouldn't even need to broadcast it. If I could make money just sipping some nice cider at someone's house and listening, that would be the ultimate job.
We need to come up with something because I think that would be a hit. You subscribe to our show and you just watch us on Facebook. I know there's lots of things like that. So
that's right.
We'll do it someday.
Somewhere it's in there. And then I just took a job teaching because why wouldn't you teach? And no, I really love. I get to work with 6-year-olds who have a joie de vivre that is extraordinaire. You just forget what it's like to be 6.
Totally.
And you can laugh spontaneously at anything. You can draw anything in the world.
And they think you're perfect.
No, I mean, you think you can draw anything in the world. And you think you're perfect. It's awesome. In fact, every day I think, oh yeah, I need to channel my inner 6-year-old.
Let's go ride our bikes again.
Right?
Yeah.
Become best friends.
Yeah.
Over recess. And enemies, and 5 minutes later, you're best friends again.
Yeah.
So I get to do that. But my other passion and why we're kind of here tonight, too, is to talk about I Am Eve, which is my women's conferences, which is where I very first met you.
I know.
And
isn't that crazy?
Listen to this. So Jess FM sponsored some tickets, 4 tickets, and you won the contest.
I did.
And you brought a friend.
I never win anything either. So, and I was like, I really want to go to this. I mean, I could have bought the ticket, but I was like, the fact that you're entering something is kind of fun, right?
Right. And you won.
And I didn't know you, or I really didn't even know a lot about the conference. I was just like, hey, this looks like it's about women and it looks cool. And
that's awesome.
Yeah. And you reached out.
So I just had this idea. And I knew I'm not the kind of person who is organized. I needed a you. I needed a Chelsea. And so I partnered with this one girl who is completely organized, hardworking, love her to death. And right before we were ready to launch, she pulled out. And I thought, oh no, what do I do?
Boom.
Right? And I thought, I wish one day this wouldn't make such a good story. Because it felt awful. And it was the first time doubt ever crept into this idea of why wouldn't anyone want to come and do this conference? I would want to. Why wouldn't anyone else? And anyway, long story short, I just thought, I can do this. I am Eve. I can do that. I just thought I could do it. And I found a group of people to help me out. And we just pushed forward and did it. And I met great people.
It's so funny being a spectator or being at that event, really knowing nothing about you or I Am Eve or I knew nobody there, so it was all to me. Yeah, my one girlfriend, right? So, and I mean, you naturally just converse with them. So it was interesting, but you definitely nothing looked like it ever unfolded. Nothing, the whole event looked so well planned and organized that it surprises me that you talk like this because I'm I know for sure I didn't see any of that at the event.
I even had someone who was supposed to do our vision boards. They the week before it was supposed to run, pulled out. And
isn't that funny that people, like, you think when you have a commitment that, you know, we need to hold to our commitments nowadays.
And on their side too, there probably was some communication that it was my first event.
Yeah.
I was also just flying by. So, it all works out.
Yeah.
And then this year, so after the event, I was pumped. I thought, yes, okay, we'll do it twice a year. And then, like, life just started. I took a job, and it was supposed to be a co-teaching, and it went full-time, and anyway.
So here we are today.
Here we are. And
we're going to tell you about this amazing thing.
Yeah,
so I'm curious. I want you to, well, let's first talk a little bit about what
I Am Eve is. So I know you mentioned it's a women's conference, but let's dive into that a little bit because I know there's some passion behind this.
Okay. So when they ask you to, like, think of your dreams, build your dreams, what's your desire, what's your passion? I already said it would be to, like, listen to people and hear them talk. But also just, there are so many good people, so many good women, so many good men. I'm not opposed to men.
Yeah, it is a women's conference. We might have to, maybe next year. It should be a couples retreat.
That's right.
That'd be cool.
Well, yeah, I've actually even looked at thinking, maybe we could have once where it's open, because there's really good men out there too.
Yeah.
And we all could benefit from each other. But I just thought there's something special about women, about sisterhood, about just getting together and connecting. And I wanted to find women who weren't jealous of other women, who could really succeed and cheer on and just help. And so I thought, what could we do? Let's start a not-for-profit. And I'm a teacher. I'm passionate about school. I want to build a scholarship where we can just give it to women in our community to get them educated and they educate their entourage. Because as women, we think about others so
We're
easily.
naturally nurturers, aren't we? It's like kind of our natural thing to like build relationships and nurture them and grow them and solve problems.
And think about 3 things at once.
Yeah.
I'm at job. What are we eating for dinner? Like, how am I going to help my kids? It's
like, how do we do it, really? Like, there's
kind of
times where
different
I kind of think to myself, I'm like, am I doing enough? Like, should I be doing more? But then you have to bring yourself back and be like, hey, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Let's, like, list. I always do. My husband's going to hate that I say this, but I always feel like putting his job here, outside of him working, but, like, his responsibilities in the household here, and then my responsibilities. And I mean, I would never do that because I think it would be so lopsided, but I always just feel like there is a lot we do that we just do so naturally, right?
And we will. And I have a great husband. Shout out to our hubbies.
Yeah. Hey, don't follow up with that.
Not too much love to Chelsea. Just love to
my husband's amazing too. I've given him a hard time.
But I know what you're saying, and I say to him, you will never know what it's like to go work full time and still be thinking, how am I doing homework?
Yeah.
How are the kids getting here and there?
And even like that, raising them. Like, are we doing this right? I don't know if like the husbands think of that as much as the wives do. Like, did I screw this up? Did I say the wrong thing? Or did I screw this up? Like, I don't think my husband's ever like, he's just like, yeah, that's life.
Yeah.
That's how we raise our kids, right?
Yeah. I just did that. Like, they don't second guess that.
Right?
Anyway, and so I just wanted to build this community of women that help women, that celebrate women, that share their stories authentically. And I think that's a huge push behind this is, for too long, I have been ashamed of my story or not liked it or wanted to erase certain parts. But there's no joy in that. Actually, all parts of your story build you to who you are. And actually, the parts that we hate the worst are the ones that join us together the most. Right?
Yeah, I agree with that 100% because I feel like it's easier for me to relate to somebody who's in a bad place than a good place. Isn't that stupid? But, like, when you have a struggle or a problem or a pain, it's so much easier to, like, for us to just feed off of each other's, not negative energy, but it's like you talk through it, and I mean, I know we celebrate the wins in life as well. It's just when those feel good, they feel good, and we don't need to go to a girlfriend and cry about our wins, right? We go to a girlfriend and cry about our challenges, so...
Yeah, and so I wanted to just kind of create this culture where women can come, share their stories, be uplifted for a day, rejuvenated, and then have good eating, good
food,
good communication, good laughing, and just really celebrate this. So, yeah, that's kind of the idea behind it. Now, getting it to be a not-for-profit has been a little bit more of a struggle, but I actually met someone on the airplane.
I know. You told me the story. Yeah,
Michelle.
this is
Michelle.
this is an amazing story.
And after this conference, we're getting together, and he said, "Oh no, this is easy." So
That's so awesome.
Right?
It's so funny how things like that align, right? Like a person you've never met before that you kind of need in your corner right now just shows up.
Just
how does
happens.
that happen, right?
So, and actually, even so, after the first event was called Believe in Love. It's around Valentine's, and I thought, okay, people were like, "Is this religious?" All the time.
Well, and it was funny too because I didn't think religious right away, but when I thought believe in love, I didn't realize it was self-love.
Yeah.
I thought it was just like a generalization of like loving people and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm not really fruity tooty wooty, right? But then when you get to the conference and you realize that it's like empowering yourself, and
Well, and when you are loved, like it spreads to people around you,
Yep.
easy, right? And so if you're full of love,
people mirror what we do, right? So that's awesome.
Anyway, and so Believe in Love was the first one, and after it, I thought, yes, this is awesome, exactly what I wanted, and right away when everyone's feeling good, you get all this good energy back, and then I'd say like a little bit later, I started to get this, oh well, here's what I didn't like, and here's what you did wrong, and here's why I felt bad, and I kind of thought, oh, wah wah, maybe I won't do this anymore.
Boom again.
Like, dang. And then I just thought, no, I think back to the people, I think of the Chelseas, I think of the Lauras, I think of just the individual stories, and thought, this is why I'm doing it.
Yep.
Because I
It was
found you.
Well, that's the thing. It was an opportunity. Like for me, I was looking to get outside of my shell, right? Like for me, I was looking to do. I probably would have never gone to an event where I didn't know people, or I wouldn't. But I was at that point in my life where I was like, I just want to do something. And the lady that I had gone with, my friend, I had just kind of recently met her too, and we were just building a relationship and becoming friends. So it was kind of a bonding experience for us too, because it's not like I brought a girlfriend of 15 years that so it was really great. It was really great that way. And I am really I'm going to go by myself to this one. So I'm like really excited for this one. And I've made myself a little plan here that I'm going to talk to as many people as I can and ask the questions, because I didn't get that opportunity last time.
Right.
A little nerves on my part, right? And
and also the conference wasn't set up for as much interaction. And that was one of my take-homes that I thought, I built this event to create community.
Yep.
And there wasn't a lot of community built into the conference. So this one is actually very...
I'm so excited.
You're going to have an easier time
Yay.
reaching your goal. And just because I thought, I didn't even really get to talk to people or meet some of the people that I really wanted to. So...
And you had said that when I was leaving. Like when I had come over and thanked you and stuff for the ticket, and you had said, I wish I could have talked to you a little bit more. I'm so sorry. And you apologized. And I walked away thinking, like, why are you apologizing? Like, you just ran a whole entire conference. Why are you worried about me?
No, because that's what I wanted.
Yeah.
That was my real regret for the first one. For the first one, I'm glad it just happened.
It was great, though. Like I say, I didn't see any hiccups. So whatever you did, you're doing a good job.
Amazing stories. People from different cultures, different everything. I just really wanted it to be about celebrating everyone in Lethbridge.
Yeah.
Or any area.
Yep. And I love that you had people, like there were some people at the conference that spoke on some of the things that were hard for them. And those are the things that just stick with us, right? If you're brave enough and courageous enough and vulnerable enough to get up there and talk about it, why am I nervous that I'm sitting here being scared to talk to my neighbor? You just got up and told us your biggest secrets, right? So
told us, your deepest, darkest.
Yeah.
And not that you have to come and share your deepest, darkest. It's not even what it's about. It's just about having the freedom, if you wanted to do that. And I was really blessed with some great friends who, I remember meeting them the first time and thinking, shh, no one wants to hear that. Like, and then kind of just not being really sure how to manage that. Like, you just threw that out casually. And then I realized that there's something so freeing in that.
Yeah.
In that there's no more dark places. And it's not that they were dark, and even people saw them as dark. It was just normal things that I had never, ever, ever expressed. And it's funny when secrets when they get light, they don't have any power.
yeah.
And I
not
just
true.
kind of felt that, like, you just said that, and I've been feeling that for years. And
Well,
then
that's what I think it's about. It's like we think we hold these things so sacred, thinking we're the only people that go through them.
Yeah.
And that's what's so powerful for me about the show and having people talk about these things. Is it's like, I mean, there's sometimes I interview people on here because I'm going through that stuff, and I'm like, I can get you on this show and pretend like I'm talking to all those people out there, but it's really me, right?
So like I got my whole list of
right.
questions
And
here.
I mean, I think that's how come it just goes so natural, is because all of a sudden it just piques these things where I know that there are women or men or, I mean, whoever out there that are thinking what we're talking, but not, just aren't comfortable yet speaking on it.
Yeah, and as you kind of like let your light shine or just share those things, people just go, me too, right?
Yeah,
And
I
we
love
can-
that. Me too.
Yeah, that we can just kind of have conversations. And so it's good. And I realized whenever you do anything with people, gosh, I love people, but honestly, there's always going to be the other side too,
Yeah.
and good. It can only make things better.
Yeah,
And
it's
you
learning.
You just, like take in what you can, make the changes you can, and sometimes you just have to say, I can't always please them all.
Yeah.
And so my first conference, I was really worried about getting people there. Like, come on, people have to come. They have to come. And to a point, that was good. But this conference, I thought, no, I'm just letting people. I didn't have the time to invest as I did last time, but I really just kind of sent out the energy of those that need to come will find it, and it's okay if it's 20, or it doesn't have to be. I really wanted 100, like I just had this 100 goal in my head, and it ended up being 55, and this
That's a
one
lot.
Yeah,
it didn't seem like 50. No wonder I was so uncomfortable. That's a lot of people.
Well,
wow,
this
it did
one,
not seem
it's
like
going to
that.
be a little more intimate. Like I think we're in the 25, so it's
I'm
like,
more excited. I'm even more excited now. I can reach all of those people.
Yeah, and I hope you do. Like and I just thought, you know what? Part of that energy, I just wanted people there, and I was kind of like, okay, come, you can do this, you can do, Whereas this one, it's like, all the people that are coming are very intentional about coming, and I think that puts a different energy in your venue.
I believe that 100%. I think we have an almost an intuition to be there because we know that there's a reason, right? So,
and I thought, I'm just going to let this grow organically, and you know what? If it's 20, I'm going to make it the best conference for these 20 women, and let that spread, because I felt like, if I can just get them there, they're going to see how awesome it is. I'm like, no, I'm going to let people who want to show up. And I want you to show up. I do.
That's not what she's saying.
I'm just saying, though, that I'm not going to create or, I don't want to say falsify.
Sell it almost,
yeah,
right?
I just thought, I'm just going to let this one happen.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited. The theme is ever thankful. And it's just kind of finding gratitude in all points of the story. And I think that's really an amazing thing to do.
Yeah.
And I fall short of it all the time.
That has actually been one of my biggest challenges too, is it's like you should wake up every day and write 3 things or 5 things you're grateful for. And I'm like, it's not that I'm not grateful for things, it's just, it's hard to there's a million things we can be, it's just hard to make that feel emotional. Not like you're forcing yourself to be like, I'm grateful for air, or I'm grateful for, food.
Until you don't have air, until you're stuck underwater, and then you realize.
But I don't want to just write I am grateful for food if I truly don't feel like that, right? So I'm excited for that reason, because I maybe that'll light a little fire. Yeah. I do want to ask you though, where'd the name come from? I think you talked a little bit about it, but I don't know if I have an assumption of what that meant. So let's. I think I remember.
I am
something.
Eve or Ever Grateful?
I am Eve.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is my ADD, happy, creative, twistedy mind.
Twistedy.
So very first thing, when I was thinking of a name for my company, I thought, okay, I put a big W. I've always loved Wonder Woman. With Levi as my cousin. We always fight who loves her more. Just joking. No, we don't fight. He wins hands down. But when I was a little girl, I had this Wonder Woman book, and it had a cassette tape, and I remember just beating my. I remember I meant to not answer my phone. That was
Her mom's phoning and she's yelling, Danielle!
I meant to not answer, and I swiped answer. So story.
Your mom was on the show for a little bit tonight.
You can meet my mom at the conference. That's right. She's getting mad. Danielle, you didn't pick up your phone. Anyway, so I drew this W for Wonder Woman, but at that time I had just read, I was so intrigued by Wonder Woman because she was written by a Harvard graduate. It was by a man wrote her, at the time when women weren't very empowered. And so that intrigued me, and I thought, who's this Harvard grad writing about women? But as I dug more into his story, it was actually really shady.
Oh, no way.
He kind of he was like empowering for women, but he kind of mooched off them. Like they kind of wrote his papers, and he did invent the truth detector, the lie detector. That's why
Really?
Wonder Woman has that lasso of truth. But he was just kind of a shady guy, and I thought, besides, I don't want to build my conference on something. So there was my W, and I flipped it over, and it became mountains. And I liked the idea of mountains because I thought, mountains are firm, they're strong.
Yep.
When you go up to the top, you see a whole new perspective, right? So I okay, mountains. But then I thought, well, I don't know about mountains. And then on my mountains, I wrote, I wanted some kind of empower yourself. And so then I wrote empower yourself evermore. And when in my mountains, I put 2 E's on the side. And I was kind of oh, look, it's E-Y-E, I. And then the mountains were an M, I am. Oh, and I am is such a powerful statement, right?
Yep.
I am woman, I am strong,
Yep.
I am. And when you say those affirmations to yourself, I was okay, yeah. So I thought, I am. And then I just looked at those mountains and E's and thought, I don't know. And then I kind of in the mountains and the eyes, I was Eve. And I thought, well, Eve does kind of sound a little it's quite a Christian word.
Yep.
And I probably would have never named it Eve just for that reason. But then I thought, well, it could be the dawn of something great or just women in general. And I would have never named it that. But I told you I had a partner at the beginning. And I think this is kind of why she was there, because she's just use that. I am Eve. I like it. It kind of flows. and so I thought, okay, all right.
No,
let's
okay.
go. Okay. No, you know what? Decisions for so long were so overwhelming
Yeah.
for me. And it really doesn't matter. I thought, and it really didn't matter. Actually, in preparing for this conference, 3 times I woke up. I just kind of knelt down, said a prayer, and just was please give me something. 3 times I woke up. It was just decide, and just decide.
Oh, I love it.
And, and you know what? And I think that's been so just a turning point for me. Just decide.
Yeah.
If
Just
it's
roll
if
with it
it's
and see
wrong,
where it goes.
you'll live into the answer to fix it. If it's right, you'll just plow through. So that was huge. I probably would have named it I Am Eve without my partner, but she was there and I did. And I'm glad I did, because the I is EYE for empower yourself evermore, and then M for mountains and strength and perspective, and then Eve just for women in general, or the dawn of something fantastic.
There's a lot in that. That's amazing that you put that much thought into. So my business is A-List Assist, and I picked A-List because I only wanted to work with the A-List. Who does that, right?
Now I thought you just wanted to be first in the phone book.
No.
A-list.
Thinking back on it now, I'm I wish I had put a little bit more thought into it. At the time, I was just the A-List. I want to work with the A-List, but now people are what?
Well, lots of people are
Yeah. But then people are talking about it. So I'm we kind of did something right there a little bit if people are talking about it, right? So
That's right.
I'm just going to pause really quick and you know this too well. We're going to reintroduce the show here. I'm Chelsea Wall, and I'm the host of The Question is Why. We're live here on Jess FM. You can catch us on Facebook Live as well as jessfm.ca. And we have apps for iPhone and Android. And we are live tonight with Danielle Lowe from I Am Eve. Yeah, this is so fun. I love this. So I want to know what inspires you to empower women and why? So I know
That's the question.
Yeah, right? I know you talked a little bit about this and why you're doing it and stuff like that, but where do you call this courage to be I who am I? Why am I doing this? Why? Do you know what I mean? Like,
I totally know what you mean.
okay, good.
And I feel like I'm an imposter. So
Really?
much. Yeah, Brene Brown talks about
I
just
love
being an
Brene.
imposter, and she says,
Yep.
and do it anyway. That's garbage. You're not an imposter. I'm imperfect, and I fail all the time. I'm totally ungrateful for so many things. And you know what? I recognize that, and that's half
Yeah.
the battle, and I do it anyway. I feel like for so long, I told you my daughter did a social studies project, the social heritage fair.
I don't think you told me this, but
Did I?
tell me now.
She did a heritage fair project on the suffragettes. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And then during the time when she did it, I just looked at the time when women had suffrage in Canada, and it wasn't even 100 years old. And it blew my mind. I'm like, what? And as I started to look at her project, all of a sudden I thought, oh my goodness, this is so, it blew my mind. It's kind of like kids are given to you to teach you lessons.
Yeah, totally.
And they teach me a lot of lessons.
And you have a lot of them right now.
But that was the first time where I thought, oh my goodness, we are barely starting
Yeah.
to get this voice, to get this,
Yeah.
to get what we've always needed. And
It's almost like an evolution right now of
yeah, it floored
people in general, though. Like, I feel like
Yes.
not just women, because I mean, I think there's men too that haven't had a voice for whatever
Mm-hmm.
reason, right? But I just feel like people in general right now, there's this evolution of us being. It's like it's okay to open up. Before, you were not allowed to talk about your feelings, right? Or
your feelings,
nothing.
anything.
Yeah.
And I feel like as a culture and society, we're being a lot more inclusive, a lot more
Yeah.
just open.
Yeah,
right?
right?
It's trickier once you go, sometimes my grandma will be like, well, Danielle, you can't say that, or, but I
But
think
it makes you
there's-
think too, right? Like,
I-
who says you can't do that? Who made that rule?
Well, and I
always
think there's
that.
just something of like, let's
Yeah.
just be honest. So that was a huge thing of just being like, what? The other part of that is, the other part is I actually got to a place where I realized there is enough joy, there is enough wealth, there is enough love, there is enough success for everyone. And I actually had to practice gratitude for others. Does that make sense? Like I had
No,
to
explain that a little bit.
read a story. I had this book, and it was like 100 amazing women. And when they were in the past, it was really easy to be like, oh, of course, thank you, Mary Curie, you're amazing. But as soon as they creeped into being like alive,
Yeah.
it was like, oh, for some reason I had this false belief that if they were shining, I was a little dimmer. And it's so false. It's so false. If someone's succeeding, that means I'm failing. I wouldn't have even been able to articulate that.
That makes sense.
But
I
it was-
understand that.
Yeah, but it was never something that A, I was aware of, and B, until I really started making it a practice. And every morning I would read one of these stories, and I would thank them, like, that's awesome. We're on the same team of womanhood. We're on the
Yeah.
same.
Well, and we all go through the same struggles. Like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter how rich you are, how thin you are, how tall you are, none of that matters. We are all born and like we are all
Yeah.
we're the same.
We're the
beings,
same. We feel
essentially,
the same
right?
feelings.
Yeah.
We feel the,
Like, I often think to myself, like, I think of somebody like Beyonce, and I'm like, wow, like, she probably doesn't poop or sneeze, right? Like, you think in yourself, but
Yeah.
she had children just like we did, and it came out of the same place, right? I mean, they're human
Yeah.
beings that still eat food, and we forget
Yeah.
that. We look at sometimes, like you were saying with Wonder Woman, like that they're these big, wow, powerful people that are just so much greater and bigger than us, and it's like, but they were where I am. They were in the same spot I am now. Like, it
Yeah.
has nothing to do
well, maybe
with.
not Wonder Woman. But just
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
okay.
teasing.
Maybe not Wonder Woman, but
I'm just teasing, but I
Yeah.
know what you're saying. It's just that commonality that we all share.
Yeah.
We all have the same feelings. We all need to sleep.
Yep.
We all need to
Yep.
eat. We all
yeah.
need.
And you know what? Those people, the more successful they are and the more big things they have in life, it's actually harder. It's harder because their expectation is bigger.
And the other thing I think of too is, have you ever been grateful just to be able to go to the grocery store and no one cares?
Yeah.
And no one cares that you throw a conference or that, not no one, but, to live a life like that, I think would be,
yeah.
undesirable for me. I actually do find a lot of joy in having privacy that, that you can just enjoy, right? Whereas if everyone cares that you bought a new car or went to a store or what purse you're wearing.
Talk about you all the time. And I mean, that is what it's like with celebrities. They're criticized and critiqued every day for things that are so normal. It's like they're the ones who are setting all this bad rap for us. So I'm also curious, and I know you talked a little bit about this too, but how did this all come to be? Like, did you just wake up one day and you're like, I'm going to do a conference? Or like, was this like planning and thinking? Or, sometimes when you have a calling and it starts small and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, like,
okay,
how did this come to be?
Let's see. How did it come to be? I'd have to say I joined Toastmasters because I wanted to stop being afraid of speaking in public, which I'm a teacher. So I speak in public all the time. But it's speaking to other adults. It just, my heart would race. I'd sweat like crazy. And I thought, no, I want to overcome this fear. And as I started to do that, I thought, I want to speak. Like, I want to say things. And when I did my first conference, I thought, I actually am okay with listening. I like listening. I like interacting. I do like speaking. I feel that sometimes I see things differently or in a different way, or I can sometimes explain things in a way that, I don't know, I just like to hear a whole amalgamation of stories and put them together in a way that makes sense. So, like, here's an example. Being grateful, and I want to say, like, in all circumstances. So that's a blanket phrase, right? But there's some pretty, like, disgusting things out there. Like, should you be grateful in, like, abuse, in rape, in murder, like all these things? How is that really a truth then that you can find joy? And so the way that I spin this or put this in a way that might make sense to people is that I think of, it's kind of like a color. And I have this little story that I'm going to tell at my conference, and I'll give you a little teaser of it.
I'm going to plug my ears. Just kidding.
No, I'll just give you a teaser of it now. And it's about this woman who goes to her teacher, and the ultimate goal is to understand orange. But if she was just born into this story of orange, she would never know. And so she starts off in a story of yellow, where things are happy and joyful, and that's the activities that she performs. But as she lives, all of a sudden something of red comes into her story. And she can't go back to the yellow because those tasks don't feel as the joy that she once did. And she's trying to merge the two ideas. And I think those red and yellow moments can create these hues of orange. And it's not that, I think as we stop saying good and bad and maybe think of it as red and yellows, that we can really start living in orange and deciding how red and yellow add to the different hues. And so just kind of, ideas are, and some of those aren't completely all mine, but they're just ways that I've heard different stories and thought, here's a way where I can make it mine, right? So I like that. I love sharing. I love hearing ideas. I love meeting new people.
That's why we hit it off so well. Like, I think we should just skip through life on rainbows together and
unicorns.
I have a question for you, completely off topic, like with the I Am Eve thing here, but it's so funny because I don't know you super well. I've met you through the event, so it's not like we have a history or anything, but I find you very energetic and flamboyant and super unique. So,
thank you.
For example, I think one of her shows she wore a really funny hat. And I think you took it off, and you might have even been talking about the hat, but I kind of giggled because I'm like, wow, you're brave. That's what went through my head at first. And then I seen you the one day at Zumba, and you had really cool Zumba pants on, and just really different and unique. So I'm curious, what are your insecurities? Because the more I get to know you, you just are so open, and I feel like, is there anything that scares you? Like, are you, because you talked about joining Toastmasters because you were kind of uncomfortable talking to people, but you're so natural at all this.
Oh, that's funny. Growing up, I was so shy, which I just was totally shy. I'm a middle child, born in between a super loud older sister, which you met her, and an even like louder younger brother. And actually, even when I was young, my my sister would do all the talking for me. I'd just quiet up and she'd be like, yep. One time a magician was like, little boy, blow in my hand. And my sister's like, she's a girl. Talking about me.
Oh, you would have just sat there and took it. I'm a boy.
I was like, he's like, come on, blow. And I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. Is he talking to me? And she's like, she's that girl. So I actually was really shy, like horribly shy. And then growing up like all through high school, I just thought, I hated myself. Like I really thought I was ugly. I thought I was worthless. And I think that like lots of people do. And I remember kind of even getting to a point where I wanted to kill myself because I'm really dramatic. I take
all or nothing with Danielle.
That's right. And I just found, like, even those kind of stories, when you share it, people are like, oh, yeah, it's kind of normal. I'm like, really? That is?
Yeah, I think.
But there's just moments where we all question or think.
Yep.
So lots of insecurities. I have calluses all over, like, my hands and feet, and my feet are uberly calloused. And I have a cracky tongue, which I didn't even know was a thing when I was young, or else I think that would have made me insecure, too. But I've just gotten kind of to the point where it's like, meh. Like,
I love it. You keep using that, so I'm like, I love it. It's just this meh.
meh.
I'm going to adopt it.
You can. And I just think, I'm still scared. Things scare me all the time. I just try and hush it a little bit and move through the scared. And often when you continue in the scared, it gets less scary.
So you've just found ways of practice and training yourself and
Yeah.
like, how do you know what I mean? Like, I think I probably ask this question to every one of my guests because it just intrigues me so much. But, like, how do you know when you get to that point where you're like, enough is enough? Like, I can't be scared anymore. I can't be shy anymore. I can't be uncomfortable anymore. Like, when can you be like, you know what? It's okay to be seen. It's okay to be heard. Right?
It's okay to be seen. So the question is, when do you get to that point?
Yeah, like, when did you, because you say you were really shy, and then you kind of went through that period where you weren't really happy with yourself.
Yeah.
But when did that change? When did that break? Because, I mean, today you're not, clearly, you are not uncomfortable with, I mean, you're doing a women's conference and empowering women. That takes a lot of guts. So at some point, something would have changed. Do you think it's just age? Like, do we just get older and be like, oh, well, I'm halfway through life now. I might as well throw the towel in, right?
Well, I think it's who you surround yourself with. Like, as you, and when you hear people's stories, they are someone who is genuine. Like, when I'm talking about, like, these great, powerful, like the Maya Angelou's and the Marianne Williamson, like, these, when they are genuinely good, they are willing to share everything. And so when you kind of reach out, not that I reached out to any of those, but when you reach out to these people, and they're everywhere. There's some that get, like, there's some that get the big stardom, and great. Like, thank you, because you know what? They also spread these wonderful messages. And the other thing is that you find them. When you start to kind of just do things.
You attract them, don't you? When you start to feel that power, you attract that.
Yeah. And everyone needs friends that are like 60, 70, 80 plus, because honestly, I did a listening group with 6 women. And I think I was the youngest by 20 years. And I'm 41. So,
That's awesome.
and it was amazing because, like, when we talk, we relate. Oh, my husband. Oh, my kids. Oh, da, da. And you know what? They're 30 years out, and they're like,
well, because they've been there, right?
They're like,
yeah.
Oh, honey, he's never gonna change. This is how you need to see it, and it's like, oh, I'm so used to people being like, oh, yeah, you're right.
Or
yeah,
bitch back, right? Where it's just like, let's just have a bitch fest here. And just,
or like, I get it. And, you know, it's amazing.
Like
and so that's kind of what I want. Also just, surrounding yourself with people that are good, that do good. You become good too. And you see, it's kind of that cyclical thing. Tons of reading. I'm a huge avid reader. I read
self-help or just like novels or like whatever you can get your hand on.
Everything.
Yeah.
I like a little bit, everything actually, because we read a lot. I'm in school for good and evil right now. I'm teaching like in Finland, and self-help, and like all those. I just think there's so much goodness out there, and as you put it into your life, it's easier to become. It doesn't mean I'm scared all the time. And even there's been a few times where I thought, just let it go. Like, there's not enough people, like, oh, you're going to be out. I just thought,
Like, to just throw the towel in and be
yeah,
like,
I'm paying for a nice party. You're welcome, everyone. No, and I just thought, it doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't. When I think of the good, when I think of the Chelseas, the Lauras, my sister, my mom, I have been blessed with people in my life
Mm-hmm.
that have brought me abundance, that have brought me healing, that have brought me love.
oh,
That I just want to, I really do, like, want to share that. The other huge turning point in my life was I realized in my 30s, I thought, I don't know if this is depression, what? It's ADD!
Oh, no.
I got my life back. I went to the doctor, I got medication, and it gave me my life back, really. Like, I thought, I could go back to teaching. I could go back to, I just did it all at the same time. So
that's good to know, though, right? That we can
Right.
have these things in our 30s that we're discovering that. Because I know you think we get diagnosed young or you get diagnosed with these things at old. It's like the 30s, we should just fly by with nothing, right? And it's like, they do say midlife crisis are happen in this for a reason, right? Because it's like this weird shift.
This weird shift. And so actually identifying that, taking medication for it, the very first time I took ADD meds, I could think through a thought, which sounds ridiculous for
no, it
people that
doesn't.
think through thoughts all the time.
Yeah.
But I was like, no wonder people can decide, because they can look at the future and feel that. So that was a huge turning point.
Did
for
that
me.
have something to do then, too, with your inability to make a decision?
Oh, yeah. Oh, one of the side effects of ADD is that you mull over something forever and ever and ever, and then you decide spontaneously.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Yeah, that's
I don't think I'm going to buy
that
a car.
sounds like
I'm going to buy a Cadillac, right?
Well, right,
Oh.
and or try like, I'll date this person, I'll date this person, and also you're married.
Oh my goodness. I cannot imagine you trying to pick a cup of tea or like a type of coffee.
Oh, a chocolate bar was like at
Oh.
the gas station. Like, oh.
So being on medication helped that?
Huge.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Interesting. And so we talked a little bit about here, you kind of just circling back to what we just talked about as far as like empowering women and how you feel that there's all these great people. Is that kind of how you feel about this upcoming event? Like, it's just so funny when we talk about it. I'm picturing myself sitting at a table with all these women. So I'm like, this is so cool. I could see you just putting that energy out there. And I'm going to walk in there and be like, I just met like 10 new mentors. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
You
so
know what?
cool.
I just think, yeah, I think when we just allow ourselves to try new things, be a little scared. You should be a little scared every day.
I hate it. Every minute of it.
And I think sometimes if you get too far, there's nothing wrong with just being quiet again. And
Yeah.
often I have to go to quiet again of when there's too many loud voices saying, like, you're an imposter, like, how dare you? Like, you just yelled at
Do
your
you have
kids, you're not
imposter
ungrateful.
syndrome? Like,
Everyone,
it's apparently
yeah.
a real syndrome.
Oh, I don't know if it's in syndrome.
Google it. Somebody sent a link to me the
No,
other
I
day
mean,
and
I'm
it's
sure
like, oh,
it's-
okay.
I'm
So
sure
I'm like, I
it's
think it's a thing.
I'm sure it's a syndrome. I just think it's a very natural thing. And for me, I just think, no, I teach my 6-year-olds this. Who's responsible for how you think,
Yeah.
act, and feel? Right here.
Yep.
And I always tell them, this is such an important lesson. This might be the most important thing I teach you ever. And I said, even your moms and dads don't know this, because sometimes I forget it too. And who's responsible for how you think, act, and feel? And so if I truly am, I have to be quiet all the time and just refocus my thoughts, my feelings, and get to that place of peace and calm and light and joy and gratitude where that's what you...
How do you do
that's what
that?
you
Meditate, yoga?
meditate. I'm a huge,
gratitude
because I am ADD, I do, writing down is huge for me. I journal. I love journaling. Also, I just do a guided meditation. I like YouTube, whatever I'm feeling, like stressed out mom, like calming YouTube. Yeah, and like,
Just Google it.
Kirtan Kriya is also like that. Sata Namas is a good one. It has tons of research about 10 minutes every day. Has all these amazing effects. Yeah, but often just because I'm spontaneous, like Google, like someone has to have some meditation.
So it's just in the mood. Like you're not like trying to control it and be like, well, I did this meditation today, I'm going to try this meditation tomorrow. You quite literally just go with it.
That's the A-list in you.
Well, it is, right? That's why I say that, because I did try meditation, but I'm like, I need a structure, I need a system.
Oh.
If I start this meditation, I need to follow with it for the next 10 weeks, right? It's
Well,
not
that
like,
also has its own benefits.
not when you're trying to debrief and stuff, though, right? You're just trying to control it
But
again.
there's just some moments where it's like, no, I can see I'm overwhelmed as a mom or a teacher or a spouse or a mother, and I just think I'll be better with this 10, and sometimes I'll just Google and a 10-minute one, just to like, 'cause that's all I got.
Quick and get it out.
Because that's all recess is.
So if I walk by your classroom and the door is open one day and you're sitting on that cute little purple chair you have with your fingers out, I'll know what you're doing.
Well, the other day we also teach this in class, like, so this is your frontal cortex, your brain stem. When it flips up, you're not thinking right. And so you name the emotion, because that gets you back in your frontal cortex. So we name it to tame it. So I told my kids, Madame Lowe, she was like this morning. She was mad at her kids. And they're like, did you name it to tame it?
They're getting it.
I'm like, I did. And I said, yes. And then I did a meditation. And they're like, did you Sata Nama? And I'm like, no, I did not Sata Nama. And it's funny because the day before I had taught them. And so you pinch like this finger a second. They were a mess. And I thought, why did all this? But then this is the kind of like the amazing part of this story is they're like, did you Sata Nama? And then they're like, Sata Nama. And they did it.
That's amazing. Just when you think, right?
Like, I'm
that.
like, and I just the day before thought, what a bad choice. Why am I trying this? They were like, like, anyway, but I just think, that's amazing. That it's I think when there's truth, people recognize it, and we want to kind of live and be there. And whether we're 6 or 46 or 96 or however old.
I believe that 100%. I don't think there should be an age on learning this intuition or to trust your own instinct, right?
Right? And that's the other, I'll tell you another little teaser. We have this.
I really do want to plug my ears now.
we have this art project, and I was kind of looking for a way to introduce it and begin it. And my grade 6 or my 6-year-olds drew me, and I'm in this pink jumper that I wore that day, and never once did anyone say, I can't really draw you. It was just like, nailed it every time. So I have this little slideshow, and that's so cool. The intention we're going to put into our creation. And it's just a quick creation. Like all these drawings took.
I like the idea of us being presented what other people see of us. Not who we are or anything like that, but just this is how I feel of you.
Well, I got these giant hands and a big old head. They nailed my glasses.
That's the nurturing and the brilliance in the brain.
I'm a brick, a rectangle.
Not all kids are gifted with the talent of art, right?
Yes, they all are.
Oh, I know. I'm just going to reintroduce the show here. So you're just joining us live on The Question Is Why. I'm your host, Chelsea Wall. Tonight's special guest is Danielle Lowe from I Am Eve. And you're watching us live on Jess FM. You can catch us on Facebook on Jess FM. We're doing a live now, as well as jessfm.ca and the app. So make sure if you're just tuning in, you're able to pick us up on one of those stations. So I don't know if I have a whole lot more to talk to you about tonight, but you mentioned, and I know we talked about this once before, about maybe rolling this into a nonprofit. So this is more than just a women's conference, isn't it, for you? It's building something bigger and more empowering than just local? Is that, or are we staying local, or?
Yeah. Well, when I very, very first started this, the idea was that I didn't want anyone to be a big, huge speaker. And actually, this is where my partner and I differed. She's like, let's call Ellen and get her on the show. And I have nothing like Ellen DeGeneres.
I just need to make sure I heard that right.
Yeah, you did.
I don't know that you can just call up Ellen.
Oh, no, I don't think you can either. And I have no, there's part of me that would love that. Like, I don't know that it's totally possible, but I mean, all things are possible. So of course she can. Well, I just thought that wasn't really my vision. My vision was that it's just everyday people sharing stories. And
that's easy to resonate with.
right?
Yeah.
And it's really easy to replicate. Like, I wanted these, if this was like my dream, would just be that this is something that could be repeated in cities all over the world.
A prototype.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. And so that's kind of what my goal was, is that you don't need, I mean, we need the Ellens in their
Yeah,
own right
yeah.
too, but we don't have to be. You can just be a group of 5 sharing stories.
And feel like Ellen. Like, why can we not feel like we're being like Ellen? We just don't have to be broadcast in front of millions of people. Actually, though, this show does broadcast live to, what is it, 40 million people?
That's right.
44?
44 million.
44.
4 million.
Oh, 4 million. Okay,
That's
well, I'm
total.
over-exaggerating a little bit, but that's pretty close to Ellen, right?
But that's probably
a
our
huge
next,
reach.
our
so-
next goal is 40 million.
Yeah, we're going to build
For
it.
Jess FM. Yeah.
Give us some likes. Comment below.
No, I just think it really doesn't matter whether your influence is 1 or a million. Like,
All it takes is to touch 1 or 2 people, and you've changed a life, right? So.
and if you want to even go there, like, let's say you influence 1. Well, that one meets someone else.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And then they have a family, and they have a family. And when you start growing like that, it's huge. You just don't know your influence. And so I just think, go for it.
Yeah.
Do what you want. Like, discover, like, be in tune to your passions. And just because you have one doesn't mean you have to follow it through to its bitter end. You can have a show for a year.
Yeah, exactly.
And then just have a summer show.
Danielle. Is this your why then? Do you feel like this is your why?
My why is because I really believe everyone does have a purpose and a passion. And I'm just a lover. I love. My gift is that I truly, sincerely love. When I was a little kid, I used to beg my mom and dad to play this record, and it was the Carpenters. And every time they played it, I would bawl. And the song was, "We go on hurting each other." Do you know that song?
No, I don't think so.
Where in the world? Oh, I used to beg them, like, please, please, please play this song. And then I would just bawl, and they're like, "We don't want to play the song." You're like,
Oh.
I'm like, "No, I promise this time I won't cry." And they'd put it on, and I'd tear up. And I just think, I don't even know why hurting each other.
Yeah, it's probably not the best message.
But it sincerely broke my heart that people would hurt each other,
Yeah.
right? Like,
It doesn't make sense, does it?
Why? I'd be like, "Mom and Dad, why are they hurting each other?" Anyway.
My youngest Aspen is just like that. You know, she hears a story or something. You know, she heard a story not that long ago about a mom who had left their child after having it in a dumpster, and she just cried and cried and cried
Yeah.
and said, "I can't stop thinking, why would a mom ever do that?" And, you know, we watch a show on TV, like, whatever, Finding Nemo, when they split up, and she cries, and it's just like, wow, you're so in tune to, like, that connection, right, at such a
Yeah.
young age. So,
Yeah, and
it's
so I
interesting.
think my why is because I love. My why is because I've been loved, and I feel the need to share it. Like, because I have a mom and a sister who are awesome. Like, they really did help me come to this point. Like, when I say and then my partner left, my sister's like, "You actually probably don't work well with a partner." You're kind of bossy. You like decisions. And I kind of was, and I kind of did want, and it was it felt a little bit mine, you know, that
Yeah.
it was more my calling. And anyway, and so I just think, yeah, actually is probably a good thing. Like I said, she was there to kind of give me my name, or give me the,
yeah. She was
the
there for a reason at some
validation I
point,
needed,
right?
and to get me going with it. Other than that, I thought, yeah, you know what? And so my sister was kind of like, "You can do this." And she always
Aw.
has been a really big cheerleader for me. And
I was just going to lead into who your mentor is. I was just going to ask you, like, who is your mentor? Because it sounds like your sister's a huge support of just
Huge.
you in general.
well, my mom, huge, like both my parents, but my mom especially. And like, my mom wasn't kind of one of those moms that was like really good friends growing up. She was a mom. And I'm like, "Oh, why can't you be cool like these good moms?" But I'm actually really glad she was just a mom, because now it gives us the opportunity to really be friends now that we're older. So definitely my mom. My sister, huge support. We used to do direct selling, and we sold Creative Memories. And I remember when I very first set a goal, like, my husband's like, "This is a really expensive habit. I gave up golf." Like, It's a business. And he's like, prove it.
That sounds like my husband.
I'm like, that's all I needed. Game on. And so then I hadn't sold like anything my whole career.
But you got the discount, right?
But that moment where it was like, this is going to stop if this doesn't become a business, I'm like, well, then I might as well set a goal to, I think it was sell like 30,000 and bring 6 members to the team, and you got a trip to Maui. And I was like, I think I can do that. And so he's like, okay. So I did it.
You did it?
And I did it, yeah. And
what? See, this is what I want to know about you. Like, where is this drive?
I didn't want to
Just
stop doing
so
creative
inspirational to me. Like, so you just wanted it bad enough. You knew it at a point. It was just like, I want this bad enough. I enjoy this. It's my passion. I'm having fun. I'm going to give it my all.
And sometimes someone telling you like, nah, no, you can't. I was like, yep.
That's kind of what does it for me too, is when somebody's like, you know what, you're not educated enough. You're not experienced enough. And I'm like, you're right. And then the next day I'm like, yeah, no. We're going to let this, like, I'm going to explore this, you not thinking I'm good enough, right?
There's that little bit of that motivates you. But also, with that said, my sister helped me, like, break it down into these short-term goals. And I remember looking at it, like, the sales goal and the recruiting goals by week and thinking, all right, well,
that's
let's just go.
awesome.
So, and she really did, like, even if I outsold her, or I remember when I won the awards for like the best recruiter in Canada and or I think I was second or third in sales, she was there like just cheering, just screaming, like, and so everyone needs a sister like that.
Yeah,
and
no
if you
kidding.
don't have a sister like that, come find a sister.
Yeah, like that. I Am Eve's Women Conference. Ever grateful. Thankful, grateful. Thankful.
Ever thankful. It is
thankful. Okay.
And did you notice I called it Ever?
Yes,
like,
I did. Well, and the first one was Ever.
It was
Believe
with
Eve.
the
Yep.
Eve, yeah.
Yep.
And the next one in February is called Rêve, which means dream.
Oh.
So it's dream, yeah. But it's
I like that one,
I
too.
needed an Ev, so it's
So you have to get really creative.
Rêve, yeah. Oh, I googled it. There's a whole list of words out there.
I love it. So let's follow up tonight with you telling everybody where they can get these tickets, when it is, and maybe just what to expect. I mean, don't break it all down because I'm going to be there, so I don't want all the details, but I think for anybody wanting to come to it,
throughout this,
they need to know where to find it.
Okay, well, October 19th is the date, which is not this Saturday, but the next.
No.
And so because Thanksgiving's in the air and we're going to be stuffed with turkey and we're still feeling grateful, I didn't think it was big enough that I could pull from your Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
It's
a tough one.
And then I didn't want to like compete with Halloween either because we're all grateful for chocolate and sugar.
And I love to see my kids all dressed up and stuff, so I'm like,
no.
It's a big one for me.
So I thought, what a great time to do this. And gratitude is so, so important. And so this year I tried just saving money in different aspects. Like I spent a lot of money on the venue and what else? Oh, actually the most that I spent the money on was getting it filmed for the day.
Oh,
And so
okay.
that's gone this year we're doing. And so I tried to like put it at a price point where we could still raise some money, but still be affordable. I'm not sure how much. My last conference yielded $88 minus the $33 for
I still love that you made money, though. I'm like, whatever you did with all those hardships, you still walked away with something.
And lots of the startup costs too was out of the first.
Yeah, the
conference.
building a website and stuff
And-
like that. I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
Stuff that you can continue to use.
Yeah, and so anyway, this Saturday, 9:30 to 4, and then this is the part you didn't come to last time, and actually not very many people did, but it was still a ton of fun. There is a dance after.
There is a dance again?
In the evening, because I love dancing, and I don't care if anyone comes but me and my sister. We will be dancing that night.
Really?
Yeah. It's a fun time, and that's
So
where
we come back again, though, for the dance. We leave and we come back, okay?
Yeah, or you can just stay for the whole time. There are some people that did that too.
Really?
We just ate the leftover soup and
Oh
salad.
my goodness, I can picture that too. Unbutton your pants a little bit, let it all out.
That's right. And so basically what the day is like is there's speakers, but they're very engaging. It's very like write down, confer, go here, go there, change it up. Like there's going to be a lot of changes and a lot of chance to talk. Lunch has a way bigger chatting time. I didn't do the vendors per se as I didn't do the vendors again just because this room doesn't have a lot of space. And it's the 702 wing, which is right by the airport, the Lethbridge Airport kind of in there.
Yep.
And it's just kind of a big, nice long hall. They let me have it for the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday
Oh,
for
how nice.
like $250. I don't want to say that.
So you're gonna have like a family reunion the next day or something. Like, take advantage of it. Brent, do you want to DJ another? He's all for it. Yeah, he's like.
So anyway, I really designed with a team because more minds together think about better ideas, think through just different things better.
Is there activities, more engaging activities where you're kind of learning about other people or engaging?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Learning about yourself, learning about your communication style, and then kind of meeting with people that are same and opposite. The speakers are way more, will have like talks and shares through their speeches. And yeah, I'm hoping that you leave with a better, more grateful way to view your life,
Yeah.
a community of women, and just
Oh, there's a puppy on my feet. That scared the life out
and
of me.
puppies.
Yeah, and there's dogs running around at our show tonight. I pick them up, but
That's right.
yeah, a little scary. I know for me personally, like the whole reason I had gone to the first one and stuff like that and had entered for the contest is because I was looking for that little bit of a push to get me to meet new people and get outside my comfort zone. So I think this would be a great opportunity for any, woman or young or whoever sitting at home right now thinking like, oh, I just really like to try something new and get out of my comfort zone. So how can they get tickets? Where do they need to go?
You can go to my website, www.imeve.com, or you can go my Facebook, which is also IMEVE Events, and I have an Instagram, but I haven't done anything with it.
Don't
Sorry.
go there.
Or right on Eventbrite. You can buy your
Okay.
tickets there. So
That's probably the easiest, hey, if they go to
Eventbrite,
search it.
or I think if you go to my website, you can just click on it and then it goes right to Eventbrite.
Should we throw, when we're done here, we'll throw the link in the comment box below this video today if you want to get tickets. So we will do that, yeah. Awesome. So I'm just going to wrap up tonight with an introduction to next week's guest. It's a good friend of mine, Sean Stanford, and Sean is a local farmer, mechanic, and volunteer firefighter out of McGrath. And Sean is going to join us next week to talk about his experience with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, and some mental health things that he's gone through through his life here as a father and volunteer firefighter, and some pressures he's had in his life. So he's gonna talk to us next week about that and open up for anybody that wants to hear a really inspiring and encouraging story on some mental health issues in men, essentially. So we're looking forward next week to having Sean, 8 p.m. here Wednesday on Jess FM. And Danielle, thank you for coming tonight. I am
My
so
pleasure.
excited to go to your event. So maybe what we'll have to do is have you come back on the show a few weeks after, and we could do a total debrief and sit here and chat all about how great it was, right? Or maybe we'll do it right before your next event, so we can do another little plug for you. But thank you so much for being here tonight, and we hope to see you around soon on Jess FM, maybe your summer episode. Yeah, awesome. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you.
We're offline.
Okay.